I started Ozempic again. I was giving myself a really tough time about taking Ozempic. I made a previous video about it, but if you're new to me, very nice to meet you. I had naturally lost over 140 pounds in the past with keto, and I gained it all back during the pandemic. And then in 2022, I was doing really well. I had lost a lot of the weight again, and I was back in the gym. I was living like a more fitness focused lifestyle. And then suddenly out of nowhere, when I was walking up my stairs, I have quite a few stairs in my house, but suddenly I could barely get up the stairs. I felt like I was gasping for oxygen when I would be going up the stairs. And so I went in to see the doctor, found out that I was in heart failure. I went from working out and going to the gym 3 to 5 times a week to barely being able to get around my house. I got really depressed, and I gained all that weight back. Not just the depression, but just the sedentary lifestyle that I had to, at the time, embrace because it was my only option. And so I gained most of the weight back. The medication was not improving my condition. So I was graduated to the advanced heart failure clinic. That meant that we were starting to look at other options besides medicine. And the only way that I would qualify for any of these other interventions was if I lost weight. At my new high weight, I didn't qualify. And so that was really scary. And you would think that would be enough to switch something in my head, but most people who have struggled with food addiction know that's just not how it works. And so one of the things that I do remember liking about Ozempic when I took it the first time was the food noise being like shut off. And that was one of the side effects of keto as well, I'll be honest. Because not only do your taste buds change when you start eating more whole foods and less added sugar, you start to think less about food. These past 4 weeks, it was different. So week 1, in my previous experiences, it was kind of like nausea, but it didn't bother me very much, and it did not stop me from eating. And I remember thinking to myself, oh, I must need something much stronger than this, right? And so I had a terrible, terrible experience where I tried to jump the line and move to the higher dose because I thought, okay, this isn't affecting me that much. I should start at a higher dose. And I learned the hard way that that's not what I should have done. If you are interested in that story, let me know. But this time, though, I could feel it. And I kind of brushed it off and credited it to other things that I had going on because there were a lot of extra hormones in my body because I had recently gotten IUD. I have to take those because I take blood thinners because of my mechanical mitral valve. And so I was thinking maybe it could have something to do with that, making me feel like this. And so I kind of brushed it off. And then week 2, it continued. And I'm just thinking to myself, my body will adjust, my body will adjust. Then I got to week 3 and it still wasn't getting better. By week 4, I ended up spending almost the entire week of my kids' spring break in my bed, barely able to move. And by this time, I had started like trying vegan recipes because I was thinking, okay, maybe I just need something that's not as harsh on my stomach. Throughout this, I was losing weight, and the food noise, it had gotten quieter. And so that's another thing that was kind of like pushing me, like, I can do this. This is a better answer for me than keto. I wanted to stick with it, but my stomach wasn't working the way it should. I didn't go to the bathroom for an entire week, which is scary. I take a lot of medicine, and I just didn't want to deal with that. So at this point, it's been 2 weeks since I've taken it, or close to 2 weeks, and I have decided to put it on hold. Mostly because I am traumatized, but also because I just want to give my stomach an opportunity to kind of bounce back. I'm not just writing it off forever, but I am putting it on hold. So I will be back with an update on how that goes and where it goes from there. I am not a nutritionist, but I will be sharing my journey, things that I learned. If you're following my journey, you'll be learning them too. And you can do the same thing I'm doing. You can learn through experience after consulting your doctor. So what I'll be focusing on is my diet, the most important thing when it comes to weight loss. But as somebody who knows the difference that it can make when you're actually working out, I wish I could work out. But right now, I am in heart failure. That's one of the biggest reasons why I'm even doing this, and so I could be around longer with my kids. I will be limiting carbs because the less active you are, the less you need carbs, or at least that's been the case for me, and that's been my experience. I'm even going to be limiting calories too. We'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll find success and I'll just continue with this new routine that I'm experimenting with, but you'll have to come back to find out. I'll be back in 2 weeks with an update. Do you have experience with GLP-1s? Have you ever taken them? Did you have a good experience and experience something like mine? I would love to know. Talk soon.